Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.8 EX GT, and it's the automatic model, finished in this lovely black with a full black leather interior. Obviously top of the range car, so very highly equipped car, and very nice condition. Lights and lenses completely clear and intact there. Front of the car very clean for a car this age. Bonnet again wonderfully clean with hardly a stone chip anywhere on there at all. Near side of the car, passenger side, really smooth in the panel work. There's obviously the odd tiny little mark which you're going to naturally pick up with the age and mileage of the car, but it's very clean. Near side front alloy, the one takes all the bashing, and it's only got the tiniest bit right at the top of the wheel there, as it stands at the moment of course. Remaining panels, very clean indeed. Near side rear alloy, very clean and tidy, no obvious marks there. And then come around the back of the car, bumper corners again, all very clean. No doubt helped by the fact it's got obviously front and rear parking sensors as well as a big camera to help you. Offside, driver's side, again really smooth in the panel work. Offside rear alloy, can't see any obvious marks on there at all. The remaining panels are absolutely beautiful. Finally, driver's side front alloy, again really clean, just a tiniest little mark on the outside edge of the wheel there, but really is in fabulous condition. Right, so coming to the back of the car now, absolutely enormous boots on the Civics, and again been kept really nicely. It's nice in this one, as you've no doubt seen in the pictures, it benefits from having a space saver spare wheel rather than the usual inflation kit. It's coming to the back of the car now, big wide opening rear doors, virtually 90 degrees, and the interior is in just incredible condition. For a car that's obviously predominantly a family car, this one's been given the lightest of use. It's coming to the front passenger side now, again wonderfully clean, full set of original Honda mats in the car. Front passenger seat there looks virtually as new. So driver's door card finally, again looks absolutely pristine. Footwell areas wonderfully clean, and driver's seat itself, the one that takes all the marks and bashing, is actually done incredibly well for the age and mileage of the car. It's in very nice condition. So sat inside the car now, engine's running through this section, so the dashboard can be seen illuminated as I always do on these videos. Just put the map on for this sat nav there a second. Dashboard looks absolutely as new, and it is a fabulous dashboard, which I'll talk more about in the following road test video. But it has been kept so nicely in here. It's really one of the very best in the marketplace anywhere, and there's not many of them. And that's the view you get as a driver in one of these Civics. It's just fantastic, and that's where you should set your driving position, by the way. So the steering wheel's sort of just above the rev counter and just below the speedo. But it is a fabulous looking dashboard, it really is. It just works so well. Just to quickly show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, both here and present with the car. So finally, just to come under the engine bay, as always, beautifully presented by Honda. Absolutely brilliant engines, cam chain driven, no cam belts to worry about them at all. Right then, this is just a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.8 EX GT, registered WL12BBV, and mileage currently showing is 55,040 miles. The reason we do these videos is very simple. We just want to show the car that's actually advertised in the advert online, and you get to see it in operation. We know how frustrating it can be to go and see cars which can look great in photographs and in the description, only to get there to find out it's got a fundamental problem which you clearly should have been told about before setting off. So hence that's why we do it. Road test is also done on these lovely quiet country roads in this beautiful part of Gloucestershire. This forms actually part of the road test route any prospective buyer would go on, so hopefully then would be representative of what you'd feel yourself if offered a test drive in the car. Car itself, as you know from the advert, has been beautifully looked after by the Honda dealers. It was serviced, certainly in terms of mileage, very recently actually, sort of within 1,000 miles or so at the Honda main dealers. And it feels like it, because the car just feels like new to drive. It feels so solid and tight, it really does. Engine is a push button start, because obviously the EX GT is the top of the range car, so it gets keyless start and keyless entry. So just get in, press a button, engine starts, and starts instantly and settles to completely smooth and even idle. The engines themselves are absolutely brilliant units. It's so silky and smooth in operation, as you'd expect from a Honda petrol engine. You know, at times almost inaudible, but it's a brilliant engine in every sense, because not only is it refined, I mean, being a Honda, they are incredibly long lasting and tough and reliable in operation. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car, so all in fine fettle there. Engine then goes through into the automatic gearbox, and again, what you'd expect of a Honda gearbox. They engineer them absolutely beautifully. The gear changes are lovely and smooth, ratios very well judged to extract the best of the performance from the car, but also the best of the economy as well. And it is a very economical car on a run. Notwithstanding their reputation for reliability, you should still do the same checks. Just make sure when you get into the car when it's cold that the gears select smoothly, but also that when you first select drive and reverse, there's no great delays or thunks in engagement, and there's nothing at all on the car. It's absolutely perfect in that sense. Steering on the car is brilliant on these things. The whole steering and chassis is actually. It's got a lovely weighting to it. It makes the car feel lovely and solid on the road, but it's just so accurate and precise in the way you flow through the corners with minimal movement of the steering wheel. I think it's just about the perfect power steering setup in a car. Nowhere in it tracks absolutely dead straight, and there's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. Same goes for the chassis. What I'm looking for on road tests is any kind of knocking noises when you hit a bump, any sort of resonances or thunks. So a bump like that, shouldn't be any kind of chatterings coming from underneath the car, and there is nothing at all. Having said that, the car will be going for an independent MOT tomorrow, so all these things will be checked by people other than ourselves. The chassis, though, is just a class act, because what Honda had done, they learnt the lesson from the last car, which was always a lovely dynamic car, and people loved it for that. But it had in some people's eyes at least, not necessarily mine, it had quite a harsh ride, and it could get caught out by sharp ridges, you know, if you struggle to deal with them. This has answered all of it. It's just a wonderfully compliant ride, beautifully damped, but it still has an amazing agility and verve to the chassis, which is lovely to exploit if you're in the mood, of course. Brakes on the car, just give them a shove. That's a really nice solid brake pedal on the vehicle. What I'm looking for on that initial pedal travel is it should bite well, which it does, but there shouldn't be any kind of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal, of which there's nothing at all. And that's more prominent on automatic cars, where the brakes do more of the work, with less engine braking effect to help out. Looking around inside, the car's literally just arrived and it hasn't been cleaned yet, and it's going to hardly need touching because it is so clean in here. Been beautifully kept. Looking around, I mean, the dashboard, I adore this dashboard, which I've always and openly, readily admitted is a bit of a Marmite interior. People like myself absolutely love it, and there's other people who just cannot abide it, which is fine, because I think that's a really good that shows a good design, because, you know, it should polarize opinion, and it rightly does. But what I love about it, I say, regardless of whether it appeals to you or not, it works brilliantly. The more conventional part down here, centre stack with your big screen sat nav working perfectly, air conditioning which pumps out absolutely ice cold air, by the way, heated seats, again all checked and working as they should, switch gear is of very highest quality, it's got this lovely damped click action to it. All the readouts down here when you press the buttons for the ventilation or radio, the screen high up on the dash there comes out up there, so you're not taking your eyes off the road, which is really critical. And then this two-tier design is just sensational. High up display for your MPH, which means basically I can look at the road ahead, pedestrians, cyclists, who whatever, and keep my eye on my speed at all time without having to sort of lower my eyes or lower my head at all taking any of the information. It's just genius, it really is. Down below that, we've got the more conventional pod of sort of rev counter flanked by temperature and fuel gauges, but it just blends beautifully. It's a really classy interior that's just thoroughly interesting, and all working exactly as it should, by the way. It's typical Honda in that sense. You know, every button you press is still working as manufacturer fully intended. Being an EX-GT, we've got the lovely big glass panoramic roof with the electric blind above me, and that lets loads of sort of natural light into the car. It really does add to the experience in these vehicles. As I said at the start, it's only brief, and it's only here to show you the car in operation as I hope to achieve, but also then gives me the opportunity to feed back on these issues, of which there's nothing at all on the car. It drives absolutely beautifully. And this is a very high spec car indeed. So whoever's lucky enough to get it next will be taking on something very, very fine indeed. As always though, if you've got any questions about the car, please don't hesitate, do give us a call.